Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Drew, and I want to welcome you back to Learn How to See Better. It's the only podcast out there that'll improve your vision the longer you listen. And today, what I want to do is talk about a few things that have been on my mind. We are wrapping up 2020. It's December right now. It's getting a little bit chilly. Some days it's warm, some days it's cool. I live in Phoenix, Arizona. It was 80 degrees yesterday. Can you believe it? In December. And that's quickly going to be a taste of reality that fades, or a taste of fantasy land that's going to get back to reality pretty quickly as the temperatures drop. But one of the things I've been thinking a lot about is the summation of 2020, the preparation that we're making and taking to move forward into 2021. I've been talking about reflecting, projecting, taking the collective experiences that we've had really over any time frame. You can run the tapes from yesterday. You can look at last week. What about the last 30 days? Or even something as simple as saying the annual roundup. And when I started to look at some of the things that I've been going through, I meant to say going through, but the Freudian slip just said growing through. And I had to catch that because I think it's actually a more accurate statement. What are you growing through right now? A question to give some thought to. But before I dive into that, what I thought I would do right now is just give you a quick teaser of some of the things that I would like to be sharing with you all over the next few episodes, something to give you a teaser on what's coming soon, and give you some topics to stay tuned for and to plan around. So you want to definitely make sure you're subscribed so you get all of the notifications. But I thought I'd just run through some of the topics that are relevant to what I was just saying. You know, reflecting, projecting, wrapping up one segment or chapter of life, and looking with the right attitude, the right vision, the right eyesight, the right mindset into the next chapter, whether it's another year, another month, or just another day. So let's talk about a few of those real fast. One of those is the idea of when we sum up any period of time, or we sum up maybe the information we read from a book, or you sum up, what you learned in fourth grade, right? What you do is you have a collective amount of information that you can use. And when I start to look at the collective information that I've been consuming, that I've been acquiring, my studies, the things that I've been learning on my own personal journey, and this compound effect has really just amassed a great deal of data, info, insights, perspective shifts, changes, enhancements, evolutions. With all that, sometimes comes that strong desire to want to infuse these learnings, these lessons, these nuggets, these ahas, these breakthroughs into someone else, into many others. However, the challenge is sometimes you feel as though you've got so much to offer. How do you fit it into a bite-sized nugget without overwhelming someone? And that's kind of the idea of what I'll be talking about today to kick things up. It's the idea of the big jug and the little cup. The big jug and the little cup is really about the mismatching of a pairing that simply needs time to evolve. Let me state it another way. A big jug is sort of like the context of a discussion, the context of something you might know how to do or have an understanding around. And that context is kind of like the container of information. So if you have a bigger context about something, then there's more information, there's more you can really know and understand about that thing to really benefit others. But you've got to have an expanded context first before you can input additional content. And so what I found is that as I go around learning different things to make my life better, investing in myself and growing daily, it's is though I'm going through this process of ever expanding context. And so now once that context gets expanded, it's kind of like stretching a rubber band. It never quite goes back to the same shape it was previously. So what do you do about that? You've got to fill it with the content. And that's where I started to think about big jug, little cup, because someone could go and regurgitate everything they know to their next door neighbor, to their best friend. But if you really think about it, if you don't have the context to understand what someone's trying to share with you, a lot of that content gets wasted. The cup runneth over, so to speak, right? So, if you take any sort of deep topic or broad topic, right? You can really look at how much there is to know about that topic. And if you don't have someone operating with the similar context, then it's almost like you have such a mismatch that there's not even going to be a realistic way by which someone can pick up what you're trying to put down. And I think about this when I go back and look at my experiences in business and investing and in, personal development, lifestyle habits, fitness, nutrition. So many times when you first hear something, you're like, whoa, that blows my mind, right? That's that feeling of that context getting expanded. It's your brain getting busted from a new concept, a new way of looking at things. Sometimes perspectives can really become paradigm shifts because they shatter the old ways of thinking and introduce a whole new way of looking at things. And that's a shift in context. So then you start to get the opportunity to pour more content in there, to get a deeper understanding of what's out there. It's like, oh, okay, now that you know that you can fish in the ocean, let's go hop on a boat and head out to the ocean to do some fishing, as opposed to maybe fishing in a fishbowl or in a small pond, right? Once your context is expanded, there's so much more you can do. And the new content that you acquire to support that expanded context can be so powerful if action is applied to it. So the big jug and the little cup is the story of two individuals in a relationship and how one really must look to expand to be able to take advantage of all the value the other has to offer. Little cup has to grow. Little cup has to look to expand its context, its range or realm of things known, so that additional content can be poured in and little cup can one day become big cup. Then you've got big jug, big cup. And that's where things can drastically change, because now with an expanded context and the associated appropriate amount of content to go with it, potentially unstoppable, right? Potentially unstoppable. So that's what I wanted to share about how we can look at changing the dynamic with regards to what we do with the information we consume. Sometimes we just need to get a context expansion. The way we've been looking at the world might be through a limited viewpoint, right? Because maybe some of us fall into the habit of we do things the way we've always done them because we've always done them that way. You've heard that old saying before, right? Why do you do it that way? Well, that's the way we've always done it. But if there's never been an opportunity, if there's never been that time taken to expand context, then there's never really a chance for life-changing content to come in. You're not in the know to know. Therefore, there's not the opportunity to affect change. And we all know that awareness is the first step towards change. So if you don't become aware, if you don't expand your context, then you block the path of entry for that true change to come about. So that's the story of big jug, little cup. Story of evolution. How will you take your little cup and expand it, grow it, expand your context in life? What are some things that you can look at changing about yourself? What are some things you can look at learning more about to expand your context of things known and unknown, right? So it's something to consider and something to look at as you project your mindset and your mind state into the new year, a newer, better you, a better version, a better vision, right? Learning how to see better. In what ways do you feel your context may need to expand? That will help give direction to better understand what type of content to go and consume. Because in the information age, you can get easily inundated with too much info. But you need to be able to provide filters for focus. You need to have, filters for focus to get your focus. But when you start to look at what potential shifts you can make in your own world by a simple expansion of context, the information's out there, but step back and look at the big picture. What are some things that you could look at? How adding them to your world might create some additional enhancements. The series of examples that we could go into would be far beyond the realm of this discussion, but just think about simple categories of life, your own personal health, physically, mentally, spiritually, right? Financially, right? Your wealth. How rich do you feel? I'm not talking about, money, rich in time, rich in your relationships, right? You have high quality relationships where both parties feel valued. These are important areas to look at. How can we make sure we're doing the best thing we can be doing to optimize our health, our wealth, and our relationships? So I thought it would be good for me to spend some time on that, because expansion of context is the thing that has allowed me to grow and start a journey that I share all of these nuggets of wisdom I've picked up along the way, because my cup is now big to match the big jug of information or relevant insights and enhancements and just value add that we can all apply to our lives. So this is my contribution to the universe, is being able to share some of those lessons, nuggets, insights, ahas, hacks through the lenses of my own personal experience. The things I struggled with, my previous viewpoints, the things that blocked me from even considering something like this until I had to continually go through my pains, scraped knees, bumped elbows, and that's where you get to that point where you've had it. You get fed up, you're stuck. It's got to be another way. And then you start to look with more open, attentive eyes to some of those things. So if you find yourself in a place right now where you're going through some of that, where maybe things seem a little bit off, or you just recognize that with a few more tools, tips, tricks, tactics, you might be able to push through and get to the next level, then look at it from that standpoint. In those three areas, your health, your wealth, and your relationships, what areas do I need to expand my context? And if I can focus on just that for a little bit of time, then I can find the right content that will be most applicable, that I can apply dedication, focus, and the compound effect to really drive that transformation that I'm seeking. So there you've got it. My tips, my insights, my thoughts, and my experiences with the big jug and the little cup. I appreciate you guys tuning into this. As we continue to close out 2020, 2021 gets underway, I definitely like to give you guys that feeling of more of this good context expansion that's coming your way. I'll talk about how, it's important to compete with yourself, but not compare yourselves to others, and how, you got to be careful. And will you dare to compare? And as we wrap up the year, how do we keep our minds focused on the right things, celebrating and understanding the power and the gift of giving? And then the question comes, can you even worry about January, right? I read something yesterday that said, forget 2020. And it's like, okay, I get that in concept if it's been a rough go. But at the same time, if you're not done yet, you got 20, 30 days left. Let's make sure we make the best of it. Let's take what we've learned, summarize that, put it all together. I could probably come up with 21 different tips for how to have success in 2021 that might be tangible, worthwhile to talk about. And then as we get to that final stretch, those last few days of the year, really counting it down, and looking at things in a piecemeal and structured way. Because at the end of the day, hey, are you all set? Because ready or not, here comes 2021. So with that, I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. It's been a great opportunity for me to share some of this experience with you, the big jug, the little cup. How can you shift your context to bring in better content to make a stronger, more rapid transformation in your own personal life, your own business life? The power is in your hands. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and I'll be sure to catch you on the next episode.